Welcome to another episode of Baby Narc. I wanted to get back to the original story. Oops, sorry. The original story of why he didn't pick me up at the airport. So he had he had told me where he lived. Actually, he didn't give me the address. That is true. And I guess in the whirlwind, romance that I was in the middle of, I guess I never even asked for it or thought about it because my understanding was he was going to pick me up from the airport and then we would just go back to his place. I mean, it wasn't like I was going to take an Uber to go there. He was going to pick me up. So, he told me the city, well, it's our city that I was originally from. And he told me, the city and everything. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, that's fine. All I cared about was making sure that he had my information of which terminal to pick me up at. And he did. And we talked about it a couple times. My 2-day stint in the airport. So I get back home and so my last video that I just made, I don't know if you watched it yet, but I was mentioning the fact that he operates as a vampire. He does every kind of interaction that we have on the phone is usually at night and like in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. plus. Sometimes he'll contact me at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And it's really fucked up because I've always had, like an office job kind of thing. So I work, 9 to 5 kind of thing. And I just think it's really fucking rude that he has all this time, he'll call me, in the middle of the night. And, I told you he gets on his tirades. So he demands that I speak with him. So he will call me 15 times at, 5:30 in the morning, knowing that I have to get up at like 7. Or I tell you what's really rude. And I've said stuff about this. I mean, like I've told him before about the other stuff too. I'm like, dude, come on. But this I've actually been really angry about. I'm like, dude, I have to get up at 7. Do not fucking call me at like 6:30 and 6:45 and take away my last few minutes of snoozing. Oh my God. But that's him. He takes. He's a taker. He's so good at taking that he literally takes time. He's a time traveler. Oh my God, right? It's insane. Like he's like a tornado that sucks everything up into it, or a hurricane or whatever, or a vacuum. Yeah, that's what he is. He is a freaking Dyson. Man, he just sucks everything up. And so annoying. I need to empty that bag with him in it and throw that fucking man in the trash where he belongs. He needs to be in the dumpster, not in my life. So, okay, so back to, the reason of me saying that he's a vampire and he operates at night. So, I get back from my airport vacation. It's like, hey, what did you do over the weekend? I went to the airport. Oh, that's awesome. Like, where'd you go? I went to the airport. Well, no, I mean, like, did you go out of the country or something? No, just to the airport. Well, like, did you, like, go, like, to the beach? Did you go around? No, I just went to the airport. Right? Oh my God. No, trust me, I didn't tell anybody about what happened. You guys are the first to know. In fact, you know what? Actually, I've never really told this to anybody. I mean, how could I? I can't tell anybody that knows him. They'd be like, girl, come on now. Are you serious? That was 4 years ago and you're still messing around with this fucker. Anyway, so about it was probably like about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I don't sleep very good. I have like some back problems, so and he knows this. And I've told him from the beginning. I toss and turn all night, can't sleep. I get up like 1,000 times, and instead of him being, conscious of that and sweet about it, be like, oh, well, okay, well, I won't bother you during the middle of the night because, once you get to sleep, you need to stay asleep for your own health. But in his twisted mind, he thinks, well, she's probably going to get up here pretty soon 1,000 times and read my messages. God, what a fucking bastard. Anyway, so I'd already gotten home from the airport. From my airport stay. I didn't even get, you know what I should have done? I should have bought myself a bunch of souvenirs, but from the airport. Like little mini planes and stuff like that. God. Taking pictures, selfies of myself all over the airport. Well, I mean, I kind of did with all of my video chats that I was trying to make for him to fucking answer me. But that'd be funny, like a whole vacation at the airport. God, good thing I can laugh about it. So I had gotten home, and then I got up in the middle of the night, and it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and he put a message on Messenger, and guess what it said? Because he loves his tirades. He loves to write freaking, mini series novellas on my pages and stuff, and all about how horrible I am and how great he is, and whatever. So guess what his message was? Sorry. He didn't even put I'm. Just sorry. I should have blocked that number right then. I should have blocked him on every fucking social media, his phone number, everything. I should have just been like, and not even responded. Not even went off on one of my tirades and been like, oh my God, you fucking asshole, I can't believe you. But no. I should have just went, boom, we are done. I will never talk to you again, ever. If you're the last person on earth and we were stuck in an elevator, I wouldn't talk to you. That's what I should have done. But of course, because I am hot, okay, I'm like, oh my God, you fucking piece of shit. I mean, that is we need to stop calling him Brian, just call him POS, because come on, that's a perfect description. He ain't lying about that. And so of course, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired as hell, and I have to go to work the next day, because my vacation from the airport was already me taking off. I didn't take off the whole time. It was kind of like a weekend plus a day, and I had to go back to work in a couple hours. So of course, I have to. I can't help myself. I cannot help myself. I tear into him. And of course, he won't answer the phone. So I wanted to talk to him because I'm a normal person. It's like, and something, in this day and age of technology and stuff, it is fucking rude to use technology to communicate with people when there's a big issue. You need to either in person, honestly, really, it needs to be in person, or a voice phone call, not a voicemail, but actually speaking with someone else on voice or a video chat, whatever. But you're not texting and not just leaving a message on something that's really, really pertinent. I mean, that is just beyond rude. So, of course, I'm trying to call him to yell at him and tell him, what he did. Of course, I'm crying. And, of course, he won't answer. I mean, he didn't even give a fuck. The only reason he texted, sorry, was because he had just a little bit of guilt, but not too much. If he would have had a lot of guilt, he would have written a novella of, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and baby this and baby that. And, I mean, it was still been manipulation, of course, because everything he does is manipulation. But he didn't even fucking care enough or respect me enough to even manipulate me. God. And you know what? That's another thing about narcissistic. I'm sorry, I keep moving. I think that's another thing about narcissistic abuse is that whenever he knows that, and I told you, me and her are psychically linked or something. Whatever he knows that I want him to do, he won't do that. He won't do that. So, yeah, because he's always in manipulation mode. There is no, I mean, that's who he is. I mean, that'd be like asking him to change his eye color. He is a manipulator, and it's ridiculous. I mean, it's mind-blowing. It really is. And so that's what you texted in the middle of the night. Now, of course, he could have, I think back then, because, this was at the beginning of this nightmare, I'm sure that the reason he did that is because he probably thought that 4 o'clock in the morning would be safe and that I would be asleep, that I wouldn't tear into him. But he didn't know me very well because this girl says shit. Now, I'm still a doormat because if I wasn't, that would have been it. That would have been the only thing. Well, I would have never went. Honestly, I would have, come on. I would never have gone and we would never have had this. And that would have been 4 years ago in my past. And I never even told anybody and be done with that. But he's manipulated me so much that, I didn't walk away. But I do say things. And, the reason I say things and have this whole time is because I keep trying to trick myself into believing that he can change. I keep thinking that if he just can see how upset he gets me, that he'll stop this nonsense and just be cool. Like, why can't he just be normal? But, he can't. I mean, why can't he just rip his eyes out and put in a different color? I mean, it's not going to happen. And I need to freaking get the message, man. Out of all the messages he sends me, that's the message I need to get. And he's told me. He himself has told me time and time and time and time and time again, don't get with him. He's awful. He's not going to be good in a relationship. We're not going to get along. I shouldn't love a person like him. Like, what's wrong with me? So I wanted to tell you, oh my gosh. Okay, see, I got my tirades. Okay, so he texts, sorry. So, and then, of course, I sent him, 8,000 messages in every way, texting, videos, voicemails, everything, just being like, of course, some of it is I'm mad and screaming and well, not scream, but, I'm mad and then others I'm crying and I'm begging and why would you do this? And, oh my God, do you know what I went through? And, the whole thing. And, So the reason why the whole thing was like a few days later, I don't know, it was a couple days. I mean, it wasn't like even the next day that he ignored me still for a couple days. And then finally he told me, he said, well, I have to tell you something. Oh God, he's one of those. I have to tell you something. Everything's always bad. There's always some revelation that you're about to get hit in the side of the head with somebody like this. And so a couple days go by, and then he does kind of apologize. And he admits to me, hold on, I have to get sorry. So he admits to me that He lives with his parents. Okay, I'm not laughing. I'm not making fun because, in this day and age, especially in this economy, I mean, we're all gonna have to live with our parents. We have to live with our grandparents, dig up great Aunt Sue. I mean, yeah. So I get it, whatever. But that was the whole reason. And, because I kept telling, I guess in all of my messages, I was like, I just know you're married. How can you do this to me and all that? And so he finally admitted that the whole entire reason that he didn't pick me up was because he lives at his original house. I mean, that's the house that I knew him from when we were teenagers, and knew his parents. And in fact, I was kind of like, they're still alive. I'm just kidding. Oh, that's mean. Yeah, he lives in that house, and he was like, I was so ashamed because his whole life is shame. I was so ashamed to have you come here and know that. And, I told him, and this is how he's very smart. He's a dumb narcissist because usually they're pretty brilliant. Because they're so good at manipulating. So I told him, I said, when I finally, like another week later, when I finally stopped being mad, and then of course I feel sorry for him. I feel not sorry for him that he lives there, but sorry for him that he would be so ashamed that he would miss out on such a great girl and a great little mini vacation. And he totally did. He missed out. We could have had so much fun. And I told him, I said, I'm glad that you told me the truth. I wish you would have just told me. I said, if you would have told me the truth in the beginning, I still would have come. I'm not like that. I don't care. But I said, if you really wanted to hide it from me, why didn't you just, get us like a motel room? For the whole time. You could have lied and just been like, oh, well, my place is dirty or whatever. And, I want to take you somewhere nice. But here's the deal, though. He doesn't make a lot of money. Well, actually, that's not true. I told you he delivers pizzas, and he does. He can make like $200 a night and stuff. So he does make some money. He just wastes it all on freaking drugs. And because he's such a fucking taker and not giver, that even if he had $500 in his wallet to get us not even a good hotel room, but even just a motel room for a night, even just one night, or, well, I guess it would have been two, just like 2 nights. Well, what's that? Like less than $200? Probably even less. We could have went somewhere really shitty, and he could have lied and said, "Oh, the plumbing's out at my apartment," or something, whatever, and spent the time with me. But he didn't even want to pay for that. And then of course, back then he didn't know that he could manipulate me enough. And ask me for money. He had never asked me for anything, other than me coming here, but he never asked for a gift. So he probably was too embarrassed to ask me to pay for it. But nevertheless, I told him, and we've talked about it, many times. I'm like, you could have just lied to me. If you would have just taken me to a motel for 2 nighs, we could have had a really great time, and you could have hid the fact that you live with your parents from me. Eventually yeah, told me, but yeah. Okay, so here's the other fucked up part about it. And I don't want you to think that I'm judging him for living with his parents, because I really don't. I don't care. Like I said, we live society. Everything's so expensive now. There's lots of people who live. I've always had roommates. It's not really. I don't give a shit. But here is the part, and I guess I sound judgmental, but it's a red flag. So I gotta get that whiteboard so we can start marking those red flags, because we're getting a big stack of them right now. He's never told me how long he's lived there. Okay. Now when he was married, which he would never marry that chick. Oh, by the way, I was going to tell you, the reason why he never married her is she begged him for an engagement ring, and he was working construction at the time, making good money, and he refused to buy her one. But of course, it says that he loved her. I mean, he really loved her. Like, he still loves her right this minute. And but he's so weird about gifts and stuff that he got his father to buy her engagement ring. And you and I both know he ain't never paid him a dime back on that. I mean, come on. Then I asked him at one point, I said, "Oh, where is the engagement ring? Give it to me." Not that I would take that, but I was just like being funny. He goes, "Oh, no, we pawned it." Because that's what junkies do. You know, they pawn everything. He better not get his hands on any of my shit. Then I'll be pissed. So anyway, so back to him living there at his parents' house. So he has, I've seen like pictures and stuff throughout the years of him living in that house. And now he lived with her for a couple years in an apartment. I'm sure they got kicked out. And then after her, he lived with another girl who was rich, by the way, at her apartment, although she didn't work. But her parents set her up in that apartment. So he lived there for like a year or two. Then he was living in a motel with another chick that he had a baby with. And they were doing heroin. And so he's lived away from there starting at about 18 years old. And so he's 47 now. And I just get the sneaking suspicion that he has lived in his parents' house for at least 15 years, maybe 20. Maybe the whole time that I had moved away. Well, maybe not the whole time, but yeah, I would say he's lived there at least 15 years. And really? I mean, even if you live in I've lived in shitty places. You know, I live on my own. I like that. And I've had roommates too. You know, I'm not saying he has to go buy a freaking mansion, live there by himself, and pay all the bills by himself. I'm not saying that. But go buy yourself a 2-bedroom shitty apartment, get a roommate. But he lives with his parents. And then he tries to make it sound like he takes care of his parents. And they are technically elderly, but they're mobile. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. I mean, they drive, they don't work, but, you know, whatever. And now I know he does give them money to live there, but I've told him, I'm like, you know, anyway, so that's another red flag too, because narcissists, they always have to have people around, and they always have to have people who support them in some sort of way and agree with them and stuff. Now he fights with his mom a lot. I gotta make a video about her. So it's not a great situation, but still they're his parents. So no matter what he does, I mean, he could burn the world down to the ground and they're still going to be on his side. So he always has to have people around him, his entourage of supporters, his fan club. And, and I've told him, now he has said to me, well, okay, I'll get into my videos are starting to get long now, so I got to cut it off. But, he's the reason I live in this apartment that I'm in right now is because he actually, when he was love bombing me at one point, there's been so many, he was saying, we got to get a place and it needs to be real close to my parents so we can take care of my parents. Which I'm thinking, I mean, whatever. But I guess, I guess if he is thinking of the future, they're getting older every minute. So, I guess that would be nice to, for him to live with me and then be just down the street from them. But I've lived here for almost a year now, and he hasn't moved in. No, he won't. He's never going to leave that house. He'll die in that house. They will die, and he'll still live in that house. I mean, the sheriff's department will have to come and get him out. Or the coroner. I know it's so terrible. So the whole reason he didn't pick me up from the airport. I mean, at least he wasn't married. I guess that would have been worse. But anyway, so that's why. Oh my gosh. Okay, remember, if you're with a narcissist, get away from them. Remember. Lesson for the day. Okay, bye.